A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a historic moment for New Zealand, Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has delivered a poignant apology in Parliament for the abuse, torture, and neglect suffered by an estimated 200,000 children and vulnerable adults in state, foster, and faith-based care over the past 7 decades. Luxon's apology, described as formal and unreserved, came after the release of a damning report from a comprehensive inquiry that revealed the extent of the abuses perpetrated against these individuals, many of whom were disproportionately Maori, New Zealand's indigenous people. It was horrific. It was heartbreaking. It was wrong. And it should never have happened, Luxon stated, addressing lawmakers and a packed public gallery filled with survivors of the abuse. The inquiry, which spanned 6 years, uncovered that nearly 1 in 3 individuals in care from 1950 to 2019 experienced some form of abuse, including physical, sexual, verbal, and psychological. Many survivors were left to endure unimaginable trauma, with some even subjected to torture. Luxon acknowledged the profound impact of this abuse, stating, "For many of you, it changed the course of your life, and for that, the government must take responsibility." The Prime Minister emphasized that his apology extended to previous governments, recognizing that the systemic failures and atrocities committed against these vulnerable populations had been overlooked for far too long. The inquiry's findings were labeled a national disgrace, highlighting the urgent need for accountability and reform within New Zealand's care systems. Luxon expressed deep regret for the government's historical inaction, stating, "I am deeply sorry that New Zealand did not do better by you. I am sorry you were not believed when you came forward to report your abuse." The report also pointed out that many abusers were never brought to justice, allowing further abuse to occur. In response to the inquiry's recommendations, Luxon announced that the government was working on implementing 28 of the 138 suggested reforms, although he did not provide specific details regarding financial compensation for survivors. The lack of immediate compensation plans drew criticism from some survivors and advocates who felt that the apology alone was insufficient. Luxon assured Parliament that a single redress system would be established by 2025, although he refrained from disclosing the expected financial implications. "There will be a big bill, but it's nothing compared to the debt we owe those survivors, and it must not be the reason for any further delay," stated Chris Hipkins, the leader of the opposition. In addition to the apology, the government introduced a series of legislative changes aimed at improving the safety of individuals in care, including a ban on strip searches of children and the establishment of a National Remembrance Day on November 12th each year. Survivors present in Parliament expressed mixed feelings about the apology, with some voicing skepticism about the government's commitment to addressing the deep-rooted issues. The inquiry's report underscored the need for a thorough reckoning with the past, calling for public apologies from not only the government but also church leaders, including Pope Francis. The report also recommended the creation of independent offices to prosecute abusers and reform the child welfare system to prevent future abuses. Survivors like Keith Whiffen, who endured abuse in a notorious state-run boys' home, highlighted the long-lasting impact of the trauma, stating, "It has tarred our international reputation as an upholder of human rights." The inquiry's findings revealed that many survivors had to relive their trauma repeatedly due to the lack of accountability and recognition of the abuses they suffered. Luxon acknowledged this pain, stating, "Agencies should have done better and must commit to doing so in the future." However, he did not address calls for the resignation of public servants or ministers who had denied the prevalence of abuse during their tenures. Survivors also raised concerns about current policies that disproportionately target Maori communities, questioning whether the government's actions truly reflected its commitment to healing and justice. Fafit Taito, a survivor of violent abuse, emphasized that apologies must be accompanied by tangible actions to address the wounds inflicted by past policies. As New Zealand grapples with the legacy of these abuses, the government's response to the inquiry's findings will be closely scrutinized by survivors and advocates alike. The hope is that this landmark apology marks the beginning of a comprehensive effort to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated and that survivors receive the recognition and support they deserve. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.